Hello, everyone, and glad to see that so many of you have joined us for the last Oxygen XML live event of the year. My name is Alim Belu, and as usual, I will be your host for today's webinar, one of our most awaited webinars, add-ons you can use for technical writing. As you all know, Oxygen already offers extensive support for technical authoring, but why not try and expand it even further with a variety of easy to install add-ons? So for this special event, we had the pleasure to invite back our colleague Alex Gitiano, DITA evangelist and development lead at Synchrosoft, the company that develops the Oxygen XML suite of products. So during this event, he aims to take a deeper look at some of the most popular add-ons available in the Oxygen library and at the types of benefits they provide. So stick with us for the next 60 minutes to find out how easy it is to install them, as well as learn some ideas for how they can be integrated into your particular authoring workflow. Now, I don't want to waste any more time, so just let me recap quickly the useful information that you need to know when it comes to our Oxygen Live webinars. As always, all of our events are being recorded, so today's event makes no difference. After the webinar comes to an end, the recording will be made available on the event page on our site, oxygenxml.com, along with Alex's presentation slides and samples. And also the recording will be uploaded on our YouTube channel that I think everyone knows by now, Oxygen XML. Another important aspect is that as we go along, we encourage you to ask us questions. How? Simply by using the questions panel from the GoToWebinar interface, where Radu Koravu, our colleague, will assist us by answering to all of your questions in real time. So with this being said, let's say hi to Alex Gitiano as he's re-entering the virtual stage. Hi, Alex.
Hello, Aline. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for attending this webinar. Add-ons. A while back, we decided to bring this add-on support, and we've implemented various functionality as add-ons instead of making them built in Oxygen, so that we can have quicker release cycles, release cycle for them. Some of these add-ons have been around for quite a while now, while others are newcomers. So in this webinar, we'll go over a couple of them that we've implemented as a result of user feedback, and we think that can make a technical writer's life easier. So these are the Git client, the DITA Outgoing References view, there's the terminology checker, a Translator Helper, and the last one that we've introduced, and maybe you don't know of it by now, the Writer Helper view. So in general, in Oxygen, to install an add-on, you go to Help, Install New Add-ons, and then you just say you connect to all the available sites or the default update sites. Anyone from our community can develop Oxygen's plugins or frameworks and make them available as add-ons. So if you know their add-on site, you just paste it here and you'll be able to install these add-ons as well. So once you've selected the add-on site, then you'll see all the add-ons that can be installed. To install it, you just mark a couple of them and then you click next, and you just follow the installation procedure. You select, you accept the license agreement, and then you install them. For the Git client, one of the first add-ons that we've introduced, you can install it like that, or because it's one of the most popular add-ons, we've also added a dedicated action in the tools menu. So if you just click the Git client action, that will trigger the installation procedure. Let's talk a bit about the integration with an Oxygen project, because Oxygen projects are important from our perspective, because they bring a unified editing experience. You have the entire team that is working with Oxygen will have the same settings, the same layout, the same views. So to show you the integration, I will first create a new project. Let's say that we maybe we'll use one of the existing templates, and let's give it a name. And we've created a new project. As soon as I activate the Git staging view, which is one of the views contributed by the Git client, I will get a prompt asking if the current project, if I want it to be a Git project, and I can say yes. And now my project is a Git repository, and these are the new files. Obviously, it's a new repository. I can stage them here. Initial content, maybe give a message and commit to the change. Now, if I want to push them to the remote repository, there's no remote repository yet, so I'll be prompted for one. And I have one here created on GitHub, so I will just paste it here. I will be asked for a personal access token, which obviously I don't have it at hand, but we can create one fairly quickly. And now our changes are in the remote repository. Project level options, like I said, one of the advantages with using a project, an Oxygen project, is that all the settings of Oxygen can be saved inside the project, and the entire team will have the same unified editing experience. Well, the Git client preference page can also be saved at project level. You see here from the on the on the bottom of the preference page, you have the option to switch between global and project options, and after you can tweak the options that are here, and the entire team will use those values. Let's see, change detection. One of the things, let me open a different project. So with Git, it's not a big deal, you know, to have a conflict, because, and we'll go on over that later on, because that's the way Git works. I commit my changes, someone else commits their changes, but we found out that people are a bit anxious at the thought of bumping into a conflict, so they don't want to reach a conflict state. And to simulate that, I will go to the web interface of GitHub, and I will edit a file. Maybe setup. I put a new element, a change, and we save it. So this is maybe a colleague of mine that made a change to this particular file. As soon as I return to Oxygen, Oxygen will detect the changes in the remote repository and will show me a heads up. So he'll say there are new commits in the remote repository, and I recommend to pull the changes to avoid a potential conflict, right? So now I can say pull changes, and I am up to date. You know, luckily the conflict will not happen. So the diff editor. So you've probably figured it by now, but this Git staging view, it has a section, the unstaged section, in which you see all the modified and new files in your working copy. And then there's the index, the staged area where you prepare a commit. So for the files that you see here, if you double click it or from the contextual menu, you can open it in the compare editor. And here I can inspect the changes. This is Oxygen's visual diff tool. Of course, if you want, you can switch to text as well, but this is quite nice because it hides the tags, the semantics of the tags. You focus on the content. If you want, you can switch between various tags display mode if you want more insight on the tags. But let's create a conflict to see that it's not that difficult to solve it using Oxygen's visual diff. So as you see, I've added a short description here in the introduction topic. So let's stage it and commit it. But before pushing this change, let's assume that a colleague of ours does a similar change. So I will put a short disk here as well in the same file, maybe with an italic to make it different. And we commit this change in the remote repository. Now, when I return to Oxygen, Oxygen detects the remote change, but it's a bit too late in this case. Of course, the conflict is there. We can say pull changes, and the pull is successful, but we have this the conflict. This file here, it's in conflict. Now, to solve the conflict, I'll use the compare editor. Please note that you can abort this merge at any time if you are unsure of if it's correct or not, and start it again. So we'll open it in the diff editor, and we see here on the left it's my version of the file, and on the right is the version that my colleague committed in the remote repository. And we see here the conflict, right? And we can keep mine by saying copy. To keep mine, I just leave it like this, or we can take this one if, or maybe we can copy the the italic as well if merge it, and we just save, and Oxygen will detect that and will consider that the merge that I've resolved the conflict. Of course, if I did it by accident, I can always restart the merge and give it another shot, and we solve the conflict, and we just commit it. Now there are two changes to push, and we can push it, or we can use the show branch history view. And you see here we see all the commits in the repository that are on our local branch, its name main, and also on the remote branch. So the local branch main is connected to the main branch from the origin remote. And here we have this declaration with an arrow that shows that these commits are just in our local branch and are not yet pushed to the remote branch. And also on the left here, this is something that it's a sneak peek into our next Git client release, this graph view that helps you understand how the commits diverge and how they were merged back together to better understand the flow inside the branch. So as I select a commit, an entry in this table, on the bottom I will see more information, the message, perhaps it's a long message, the author, and on the right I will see the files that were changed in this commit, and I can compare with a previous version. It will open inside Oxygen's visual diff as well. In this case, I have two previous versions because this is actually it's a merge commit, or I can compare it with the working copy version. You see, in the working copy, I have this paragraph, a change, but in this particular commit, this paragraph was missing. And there's also a reset file to this commit if you want that. There's also a contextual menu here in the Git history view with handy actions to create branches or tags. Maybe you want to check out. Also the checkout, it's a sneak peek. It's something that will be released in the next version of the Git client. Or maybe you want to revert or reset. So that was the history view. Another thing that and useful information is on what branch you are working on and where these changes will go when you push. And this information comes, it's available here in this tooltip that appears on the branches action in the toolbar. There's also a drop down from which you can switch between the available local branches. In this case, it's I only have one. And if you click the action, you will see the Git branch manager here on the right. You see the local branches as well as the ones from the remotes. You can check out another branch from the remote, or you can create a new branch. Maybe even we can check out the branch, and after that we'll be able to switch here. Well, actually, when and we can stash changes. When you switch branches, if there are uncommitted changes in your working copy, then you can either move it to the branch you're switching to, or you can choose to stash. Stash support is it's something that was added in the last version of the Git client. There's an action here on the toolbar to actually it's a drop down. You can either stash changes if you have modified files, or you can list the available stashes. For each stash, you are able to see the files that they contained. You can compare it. You can compare the files. This is not a great file to compare because it's a project file. And of course, you can apply the stash or delete as you would expect. Let's switch to a more mature Git project, our user guide, the user guide from for Oxygen XML. As I go to the Git staging view again, it will detect that the new project is a Git repository, and it will ask me if I want to load it in the view. So I will say yes. We see here that we have other changes, and yeah, so I wanted to show you this action, the one that presents the available tags in the repository. And for a tag, you can check out. Actually, I think the checkout also is an action from the Git client that we will release hopefully shortly. It came as a feedback from our users because we've introduced this tags dialog, and one of our users said, well, a checkout action would be quite handy to have. Or we can see details about this tag, and if I just created the tag and it's local, then this option to push it to the remote repository would be active. What else is to come? Well, also feedback from our users, the ability to work with multiple remotes. It empowers interesting use cases to be able to maybe check out from one remote and then push maybe into another to create maybe pull requests and so on. And yes, and also the ability to switch to a different remote and track a branch from a different remote. That's something that will be available in the next release. Blame. I didn't show you the blame. So for a file, I can say show blame from the project view, and the file will open. The history view will appear to assist me, and I will have different background colors for different commits, and as I place the caret inside a section that comes from a particular commit, the history view will select that commit, so I can better understand who did that change and why. Let's go to the next add-on, the DITA References. So the DITA References contributes a view just like this. And as I open a DITA topic, it will present in the Outgoing tab all the outgoing references, like, for example, images that I've referred here. As I select an entry from the view, it will select it in the main editor. So we have media resources, cross references, content references, or related links. And we can say open reference as well if we want to inspect the target of that reference. The incoming tab presents all the other topics or maps that have a reference to the current topic. So in this case, we have a reference to this topic in the map. Well, I've changed. And we also have some cross references to this particular topic, and I can expand and go deeper and see how this topic is being referred from these other topics, and so on and so forth. It's worth mentioning that when computing the incoming references, the add-on starts from the main files. So if you've put something here in the main files, in my case, I have the entry point, the root map, as well as what you've selected here as context in the DITA Maps Manager. So from both of these. The next add-on is the terminology checker. Whoops. So let's open a topic. And the terminology checker contributes a view. Yep, this one. And it presents various problems that appear in your in the current topic.
Alex, the checker works only in the author mode.
Sorry. Thank you, Radu. So you have them in the view, as well as you have these highlights in the editor, and it contributes this small widget in which you have a quick fix. In this case, you should replace the oxygen word with a key reference, and the quick fix is available in the contextual menu of the view as well. The next question would be, from where does the terminology helper collect these the rules that it applies? And the answer is that in your project you put a folder named Oxygen Term Checker, and the add-on will search for the rules inside this folder, and these rules, you can write them in an XML vocabulary like this, or if you have Veil rules, so Veil linter, which is a tool for finding such for doing terminology checking. If you have them, then the terminology checker add-ons will also load the Veil rules. So as you can see in this folder, I have both rules in our XML format, this one that matches on the oxygen word and recommends to replace it with a key reference, as well as Veil rules, which are written in YAML, and they look like this. And I think, well, it's better to, if you have the Veil rules, you should know also that the terminology checker supports these scopes and these extension points for now. Moving forward, the Translator Helper uses the Google Translate or DeepL translators to translate a block of text from your topics. So it works like this. Let's open a topic, and we select a block of content that we want to translate, and from the contextual menu we say translate, maybe with Google, and in French. So it will open a browser and paste the content that I selected, and on the right you will see the French version. So what I need to do now is to copy the translation. These strange characters that you see here in the translations are markers that we put there so we can perform this replace. So now we click replace, and this section has been replaced with the French version, and we also have this view, is called the Translator Helper, obviously, which loads the original content of the topic. So I can see here how the original text in English and put it side by side with what I've got in French, and maybe do a bit of editorial review and inspect if the translation is correct. So we've this translator helper it's something that could be of help to maybe a translator that is working on translating a topic, or maybe even to a technical writer which knows multiple languages and wants to translate himself a topic into that other language, right? And he uses either Google Translate or DeepL to speed things up, and afterwards he just corrects the translation. The writer helper add-on also contributes a helper view. It's called writer helper, and it has a number of tabs in it. The first one is the review tab, and it's intended to help you with the review process. So the flow would be like this. In the Oxygen project, you select a number of topics that you want to review, and then you click Start Review. And the first topic will be opened. I read it and I perform the review in it. I change it as I see fit. Maybe put a new paragraph, I don't know. Change tracking is enabled, you see. And after I'm happy with it, I can say review next document. The previous document closes, the new one opens. Again, I go over it and I do my review, and I repeat this operation. I click review next and next and next until I've reviewed all the documents, and then I can either restart the review or say end and finish. This random review checkbox here, it will open randomly the files, the selected files, as opposed to opening them in the order in which they appear in the project view. The similar content tab works a bit similarly. You select a number of topics in the project view, and then you say find similar content, and it will open a tab in the results view here on the bottom, and we'll see what similar content we have. For example, this particular block of content appears in two places in the same topic. So perhaps I should move this paragraph into my warehouse topic and make a content reference to it. Here we have another one, quite a big one, how to enable the Java Access Bridge, and also perhaps a good candidate for reuse. We can put here a list of elements that should be analyzed, the potential elements for reuse. Or if you want, you can show similar content only for the current file. The read loud file, as its name suggests, it will use a system a narrator from your operating system to read aloud the current topic. I could push play, but only I would would hear the narrator. So I invite you to try it yourself. And the tips, well, it presents various tips and tricks that we think can help a technical writer using Oxygen, because Oxygen has quite a lot of tips and tricks and functionalities that sometimes are difficult to discover. So we thought of creating such a list and showing it inside this view. And as you click next tip, you see a new tip. This one is how to use the find next previous actions from the find menus, or maybe how to easily insert various XML structures. I don't know if you are aware of it, but if you type 1 and then you put a dot at the beginning of a paragraph and you press space, you create an unordered list. And we can even try to see if that is true. And apparently it is. Or you see, if to create notes, you can just start with this prefix. The last add-on that I want to mention is the DITA Translation Package Builder. It's not something that you would use quite maybe very frequently, but it can be of help with sending a package to translation, or to extract the changes that the package that comes from a translator, to extract it and apply it in your maybe if it's from the French, for the French language, you apply it on the French version of your documentation. It works like this. It contributes actions in the DITA Maps Manager. So for a map, you generate a milestone. You have a generate milestone action. It's in the contextual menu here, generate milestone. And it will generate a file with some hashes. And after that, you start working on the next version of your documentation. You make changes, you edit the map. Is this the second step? And the topics. And when you are ready to, when you want to send a package to translation, there's another action, the create package. This one, the create modified files package, that will use the information stored in this milestone file to detect just which topics changed, and it will put just those topics in the package, in the archive, that you can then send to translation. And the round trip, once you get the package, the translated package, there's an apply package action that will merge the changes back. So it works like this. This apply package. So let's assume that I've received this zip archive with the French translation. So what I will do is I will open the French version of my documentation. Everything here is in French. And from the contextual menu, I will select apply package. I will browse for the package and click open. And before applying it, I can have a preview. And these are the files that were present, the topics that were present in the in the package. If I double click it, I will see the changes. So this new short description came from the translator. It's not present in my old version, my old French version, and this other topic has a new paragraph as well. And now if I click apply and I open those particular topics, you see that that they were updated. So thank you for staying with me, and I hope that you've discovered some new add-ons that you can put to use in your documentation projects. If you have ideas on how we can improve them or what other such add-ons we could introduce that could make a technical writer's life easier, don't hesitate to tell us either now or on our email support address.
Thank you, Alex, for your presentation, for shedding a light on some new or updated add-ons. We have a few questions, so let's jump to the Q&A section of our presentation. User asked during your presentation the following: can I also integrate with Azure DevOps repository? He was referring to the Git Client Add-on.
Right. So it's about the Git client.
Yes, the Git client.
Well, the Git client works with any Git repository. So I've used GitHub for this presentation, but it could be GitLab or it could be Bitbucket. I'm not sure if Azure DevOps uses a it's a Git underneath, but if it is, then yes.
Okay. When you were presenting the Writer Helper add-on, we received the following question: can I assign a review to a coworker?
Well, this particular add-on is intended as a little helper for yourself. So it helps just you to track your own review process. If you want to bring a coworker into the picture, then you can do that with Oxygen Content Fusion, for example, because with Content Fusion you can upload the topics to the Content Fusion platform and share a link with your coworker, and you can collaborate with him in the Content Fusion platform.
A lot of people are thanking you, Alex, for your presentation. Also, they congratulated you because they actually discovered several unknown features. Let's jump to the next question. When do you expect to add sentence to Veil support?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I will add this request on our internal issue tracker and get back to you with, well, obviously, when it will be released a new version.
Another question from a user that is also thanking you for the great webinar. The user was wondering if we have add-ons for Perforce.
I think the Oxygen Web Author has an integration with Perforce, and but we don't have one for Oxygen XML Author. So if we go here and they try it online, I think some point, right? So yes, the web author has an integration with Perforce, so you can use it to edit documents from Perforce.
Another question just arrived in the questions panel. Is there a way to use Writer Helper directly on a DITA map instead of a project? Also, if a project only contains the map and not its topics, does the review work on the linked topics?
Well, I think it does that because as I said, it started from the, so it starts from the main files or the context map, the root map from the DITA Maps Manager. So in these places, you put the map, but probably you would want to select the map directly in the Writer Helper.
Yeah, I think it doesn't work. I think we only added this to the project. So you select the project folder and then you start the review process. But we could also make it work maybe in the future to select a DITA map in the DITA Maps Manager and start the review process.
Oh, thank you, Rad.
No, also a suggestion from one of our audience members that he would like to see the Writer Helper to provide an ipsum lorem text insertion generator.
Well, we'll add it. We'll add an issue request for that. Add a +1 to it. Thank you for your feedback.
Okay, well, I think that's about it when it comes to the questions panel. I will be taking control quickly. If you have any other questions directed towards Alex regarding his presentation today, make sure to go to the event page on oxygenxml.com in the events section and find the Oxygen feedback commenting platform where you can write directly your questions there. And also if you have any other suggestions or just feedback. And also on this page, you will find the recording for today's live event, along with Alex's slides. Now, let me tell you that for the next year, we already planned some new events for you to attend. We are planning to release version 2.0 of the Oxygen feedback commenting platform really soon. So the feedback team also planned an event where they want to showcase the use of feedback in conjunction with Oxygen XML editor, so you can learn how to continuously improve your online documentation based on your subject matter experts and community feedback, along with the new features. This event will take place on January 19, 2022. And also, if you are planning to generate some nice looking documents for your company or just as personal projects, but maybe the mention of CSS makes you a little bit uneasy, the event that will take place on February 2nd will be the one that addresses the Oxygen styles basket. So this webinar will be an interesting one where you will get to see what exactly is the Oxygen styles basket, how it works, and how you can use it to create the customization that works for both your PDF and web help outputs. With this being said, I have to thank all of you for attending in a great number for our last event of the year, special one. Again, thank you, Alex and Radu, for your presentation and for helping us with the questions today.
Thank you as well.
And really, what is left to be said is again a big thank you for joining us almost every week to our live events. And of course, we wish you great holidays and have a great day or evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone.